For this video, I'm going to be doing a fish store tour of Gateshead Guppies, a tiny little store that's only 15 square foot in total, but the owner has done an excellent job of maximising space and there's 152 tanks in there. Now the shop's only been open to the public for 2 days and it is waiting for deliveries of fish and its sign, but if you want to go anytime soon, it's actually this shop here right next to the flower shop on Felon High Street. So getting into the shop, and the first tank that caught my eye was the Corydoras tank with various types of Corydoras and Ace. The majority of these are bronze Corys, but there was at least one albino in there too, and regular viewers will know I love my Corydoras. Moving down and we get to a guppy tank. This one has Mosaic Guppies in there, both male and female, so keep in mind females can hold sperm for up to 6 months, so if you get females from a mixed tank you can still get babies even if you don't keep a male fish, but this male looks absolutely amazing. Moving across and we get to steel blue Endlers. Again, there's a mix of male and female fish in here and the males look amazing. I'm not actually familiar with this specific strain of Endler guppies, but I do have some Endlers and they are entertaining fish to watch. I'm not sure what this next tank is as it only had random fry wrote on it, but I think the various strains of guppies, but I do have bad eyesight, the fish are tiny and they're at the other end of the tank. I have no idea what these little guys are, but I do love the little blue eye on the fish and they seem to be happy and active in the tank. Next up is one of my favourite fish, a Betta or a Siamese fighting fish. It's actually £2 cheaper here for this specific colour type than at Pets at Home, and it's kept in a larger tank, so that's always good. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that these are Santa Maria Endler guppies, and again the males in here look great rather than the washed out ones that I've seen in a different local shop. Moving across and we get to a Paradise Fish tank, and I'm so happy there's someone in the northeast that's selling these because I really want one for a cold water tank. These are just juveniles but they look beautiful once they mature up and the males get their colour. These guys are anabantoids from the same family as Betta Fish, but they are cold water, letting you get a beautiful fish without the higher power bill. Next is this blacktail guppy tank, and I'm not sure if this is a strict strain, but there's definitely plenty of blue on their tail and the males in here look amazing and they're probably my second favourite guppy strain in the shop. As you can see, they are very healthy, and if I do end up getting back into guppies in the future, this is probably where I'm going to come to get my new guppies. Next is this metalhead guppy tank, and I'm not really fussed on non-cobra metalheads myself, but I know that some people absolutely love this strain, so I wanted to include them in the video. This tank is marked up as full red guppies, but they do look similar to what I've seen other people sell as red blondes, so I'm not sure if they're the same thing, but they're active and happy swimming around in the tank and very colourful. Next up is another Betta Fish marked up at £5, and this one is a duo colour, so you'd be paying more than double that in Pets at Home for the exact same fish. These guys are blue lace guppies, my favourite guppies that I saw in this shop, and I was so close to buying all of these, but I did recently decide to take a break from guppies as I never have any luck with them, but it did take a lot of willpower to leave without buying these. So with this clip I'm just trying to show the scale of the shop, and I'm 6'4" or 194 centimeters tall, and I'm holding the phone above my head, so I had no idea what fish were actually in these tanks, but there's just tanks on tanks on tanks. You can ask the owner for some step ladders if you do want to climb up and get a good look at the fish that are in these tanks, because there's a lot of guppies, mollies and platies up there, and I think he's got a few breeding tanks on the top shelf as well. So moving across to the other side, and we have Boesemani rainbow fish. These are just juveniles, but once they get their orange colour they look amazing when they mature. Now these caught the corner of my eye, and it's some gold Sailfin mollies, and I haven't actually seen these in a local shop for a long time. Everywhere here just seems to have the regular black and white Dalmatian strain, so it is nice to see some variety. I have no idea what this says, and I'm not familiar with this fish species, but these guys are in the shop as well. So I actually got a little overwhelmed here with how many tanks there were, and I lost my place on the rack and ended up with the Boesemani rainbow fish tank, but again these are beautiful fish when they age in. This next tank has a bunch of juvenile Snowwhite Bristlenose Plecos in it, and they're not my thing. I'm not really into Plecos, but one of my good friends is, and I know a lot of people in the hobby love them. There's also some cichlid fry in here being used as a grout tank, but they'll be returned to their normal tank once they're large enough to sell. Here's another paradise fish with a bunch of other species, and I thought these guys were actually pencil fish, but the owner corrected me and said that there's some type of barb, but I know nothing about barb fish at all. Moving down and we get to black mollies, and I think that these are a popular fish in my area because one of the local football team's colours is black and white, and I've seen people stock their tank with black and white mollies. Next up we get to some gold gourami, and these had just been delivered, so they were waiting to colour up, and thankfully these are correctly labelled as gold gourami very clearly, so there's no way you can confuse them for honey gourami and buy a potentially aggressive fish for a small tank. I think that these are some type of barbs, maybe cherry barbs or something like that, but like I said, I know nothing about barbs. I've never kept any type of them, but these guys are here too. Next up is these long fin zebra Danios, and the owner of the shop was telling me how zebra Danios look like they are being added to a controlled fish list here in the UK, so future imports may be restricted or even banned. So switching to the end rack, and there's a tank full of gold dust mollies in here that were very active and happily swimming around the tank, unlike some other shops that I've been in. Doing a 180 and turning around, and there's a tank full of red platy fish, and as you can see these guys are very active and they're swimming around without issue. There was another Betta Fish listed at £5, and again this guy is a duo colour, so in pets at home you'd be paying at least double that. Here's the top to bottom of the end rack, as I did have other things on today and I really didn't expect the owner to have this many tanks in such a small space, so I had to start skipping over them at this stage. This is a mixed tank with some red Robin Gourami and some Daisy's Ricefish, and keep in mind these are not Medaka Ricefish from Japan, they are from the same family, but these ones come from Indonesia and you will need a heater if you're keeping them in the UK. Moving up we get a tank of golden panchaks. I have no idea about these fish, it's another one I'm just not experienced with, but these guys are in here as well. There's a tank full of silver mollies that are very active, and I'm pretty sure this is what people use for the white fish when they're going for black and white for the Newcastle football team or red and white for the Sunderland football team. Moving across and we get to this barb tank, and I've never seen ruby barbs before in my life. I didn't even know these were a thing. My camera definitely doesn't do them justice, but they look so cool with their dark black body and dark red head. Here's a quick top down view of that rack because like I said I was starting to run out of time and I do have other things on that I had to get done today, but there's a lot of guppies and other stuff like that in this rack. Now I'm quite familiar with Emperor Tetras and they're quite easy to find in local shops, but I've never seen gold Emperor Tetras, so if you want something that stands out, maybe look at these guys. Moving across and there's a platinum ricefish tank, and this is the only place where I've actually seen someone selling Medaka ricefish here in the UK, and these are the ones that are from Japan, so you don't need a heater to keep them year round here in the UK. I actually purchased 2 of these to go into one of my shrimp tanks as they share the same water parameters as Neocaridina shrimp, so hopefully they'll go well together. There's a tank with giant Danio and mascara barbs in here, so if this type of thing is for you then this is a great place to pick them up because I've never seen either in a local shop in my area. Moving up and we get to a swordtail tank of different strains, and these don't seem to be a very popular live bearer, but they do actually look quite cool to be fair to them. There's a tank full of tiny little baby Siamese algae eaters, but keep in mind these guys get big quickly, and I've only had mine a couple of months and he's already around 4 inches long. There's a tank full of celestial pearl Danios too, but these guys were shy and they hid at the back of the tank, and I know 2 people who are currently looking for this fish, so I gave them a text to let them know that they are available here. Now I can't remember if these guys are called Albino glow light tetras or something else, but I've never seen them before, and it is a pretty cool looking morph of the regular glow light tetra. Now here's some b-roll of the new Medaka that I purchased as I get them ready for my tank, with some overlays on how they behaved because I really didn't expect something to happen that happened. So just to share some thoughts on the shop, and I honestly think the owner has done an excellent job fitting so many tanks into such a small space, and I didn't see any overly dirty tanks or anything like that, so you can see he puts a lot of time and effort into maintaining the tanks. I'd guess that I probably only managed to get solid footage of around half of the tanks. There's plenty of other Platy and Guppy strains in here, but like I said, I was busy today and I didn't expect there to be anywhere near as many tanks in here as there were. The owner is very friendly and welcoming, and most importantly, he is extremely knowledgeable about these fish, so if you are new to the hobby, you are in very, very good hands here. He has some fish that I haven't seen in any other aquatic shops in Sunderland or Newcastle, so if you are from the northeast, it's definitely worth checking this out. As I mentioned a couple of times through the video, the fish that I'm more familiar with are cheaper here than at Pets at Home, especially some of the fancy guppy lines where you'll just get mutts for a similar price at Pets at Home. One of my favourite things about the shop is that the owner is just charging a fair price for the fish, and he's not trying to price gouge his customers, because the two Medaka that I purchased were £3.50 each or £7 total, but the same fish would have cost £20 online. Overall, I'm very happy to have a local shop like this relatively close to where I live. Regulars on my channel will know I'm a huge fan of Horizon Aquatics, which again is about double the distance as this shop, but unfortunately Horizon don't sell live bearers or any type of Ricefish, so this place serves as a nice alternative. All in all, the owner has done a great job with the space he has, and I'm really impressed with it, and it reminds me of old school aquatic shops that my grandparents used to take me to get fish when I was a child. With any luck, this place will become a huge success, because I'd rather buy from this kind of shop than a chain shop where the fish are pretty much half dead and overpriced. But anyway guys, that brings the video to an end. Thanks for watching and have a good day.